Lord, first we honor you. We thank you for your grace, your mercy, and your goodness to us all. And now, Father, I pray for our mayor, the council members. Father, I pray that your grace, and your wisdom will be upon them, Father, as they make decisions for this town. And so we thank you for that. And we ask you, Father God, for your wisdom, your understanding as we proceed further. We'll never forget to give you all the glory, all the praise, and all the honor. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, brother. Council, you have in your packet a copy of August 10th council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes at this time? Do I have a motion this second presented? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Also, you have a copy of the 2021, August 2021 financial report. Are there any additions or corrections to that? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the matter presented? That motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I had one question. This related to the audited financials for the prior year. How's that going with the auditors?
They have completed the audit. We're just waiting now for them. He said that we should have something ready by the last part of October. We should be ready, but everything has been completed thus far.
Are there any further questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Then informed that Mr. Carol Bay will not be with us tonight to address council, so we'll go to John and Jane Carey. Please step forward.
I drew the short straw. First of all, I'd like to thank City Council and the committee for all their efforts, and Chief as well. I looked at the memoranda sent to the City Council about the truck traffic on Market Street. And talking to people and looking at the whole picture, I think we're making it tougher than it really is. You have ordinances, and I've got copies, they're highlighted in yellow. Again, it says trucks are not allowed unless they are delivering to or picking up freight from somewhere in the historic district. It's not said once, it's not said twice, it's 4 times. So what we have, it's an ordinance in place that says that trucks should not be traveling in residential areas unless they are picking up or delivering to a location in that area, in the no truck zone. And I agree, Mr. Bennett, with your committee saying the police have better things to do. They've got, instead of stopping trucks. But if trucks realized they were going to get a ticket if they came down Market, and I believe the reports specified over 200 trucks were stopped, I don't think they were all delivering to parties on Market Street. So there's a serious communication problem with understanding what this ordinance says. Again, this is not a police problem. This is a communication problem. There are also problems with the signage. And now it's a public safety problem because a truck did slam into a building on Market Street. And thank God nobody was hurt. So now we've got an ordinance which states that trucks should not be going in specific areas of the town unless they are actually delivering to or picking up from that location. a truck slammed in, careless, I don't know what the ticket was written or what the investigation says, into a carport or some type of awning and destroyed it. Don't know if anybody was hurt, but thank God no one was hurt. And the city has a public safety responsibility. And so it just seems to be ratcheting up instead of lowering the dyspepsia. But if a few tickets were written, the signage was more clear, forget GPS. They have what's called Breaker 19, they all talk to each other. Stay away from the residential districts if you're not picking up from or delivering to. And to y'all, is there a misunderstanding of the ordinance with city council? That's a question I have. I mean, I can ask a question.
Any comments or questions?
I have one, Chief Thomas, the 38 trucks that were stopped. Did they receive tickets? I'm just reading the legislative report back to, council.
The
There were
38 vehicles that were found to be in violation were either written warnings or truck route violation tickets. I don't have the numbers of how many of which, but that's the numbers that I was asked to provide, and how many were found to be in violation.
Were
They were
they,
either issued a ticket or a warning for that violation.
were they picking up or delivering to on Market Street as per the ordinance, or were they just delivering?
Ma'am, all due respect, you're skipping one. There's an exception within that
It's
ordinance.
exception under C, but then you have D, E, and F.
I understand.
And so if you, if there's that much confusion, then perhaps there ought to be an attorney general question asked legally. Because again, did a truck slam into a building a few weeks ago?
A truck was trying to turn around in that parking lot and struck the awning of that building.
Was anybody hurt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. See, that's things that the police shouldn't have to do, and this is adding to them. But again, and this is what I brought 2 months, or my husband and I brought 2 months ago, and it's highlighted in gray. There's an exception there. You don't need the rest of this ordinance if there's an exception stated up there. Because you've firmly said there's an exception to going to these places if you're picking up or delivering to in Schwab, period. But that's not what it says. Thank you, Chief. So again, that question, is it as clear to y'all as it is to us, or is it unclear? I'm asking city council. I haven't gotten an answer. I've asked it twice. I'm waiting for an answer.
The time is over.
I know, but I've asked
Does
twice.
anybody want to ask a question? Mike? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I would like it in the record, city council or the city administrator answered the question that was asked twice, if they understood their own ordinance. Thank you.
Council, you have in your packet a second reading of ordinance 2022-04. This is an ordinance to amend the text of the Charlotte zoning ordinance with following changes, lots, areas, yard, height requirements, and furtherance of the Charlotte comprehensive plan. Rob?
As we mentioned, the first reading, these come in the form of a recommendation from the Planning Commission after a public hearing that was held on July 26th. These are recommendations that were in the comprehensive plan, and they deal specifically with how much you can build on a single lot, how tall buildings can be in manufacturing districts, and how much lot you can cover with impervious surfaces. And this is to clarify definitions, control future stormwater problems, and then also allow for potential industrial developments in the future.
Hearing that, we have a motion to accept second final.
So moved.
There's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Also, second reading ordinance 2022-05. This is an ordinance to amend the township law of official zoning map to rezone certain properties to conformity with the township law's comprehensive plan adopted in 2017. Right.
There are several rezonings contained within that ordinance. Again, with the comprehensive plan the town adopted in 2017, it made a recommended land use map for the entire town. We did a number of these rezonings in the summer of 2019, and this is kind of cleaning up the last of those rezonings. Things that were non-conforming would be made conforming that have been there for quite a while. Some houses that were industrial are being made into residential. Arrowhead Park, which was zoned as office, commercial, and industrial, is being made into open space. So really technical changes like that.
Council, here's a recommendation to adopt second final reading of ordinance 2022-0. Have a motion, for a second. For discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. It is unanimous. Also, we have second reading of ordinance 2022-06. This is an ordinance to amend the township law of official zoning map to rezone certain properties from R2 multifamily residential to NC, which is neighborhood commercial.
This is also a recommendation from the Planning Commission. Actually, the Planning Commission had looked at rezoning that to limited industrial. They did not recommend that change, and that recommendation was upheld by Town Council in May, I believe. And so we went back and looked at it again. And the recommendation from the Planning Commission is to make it neighborhood commercial, so it's not to unfairly limit the use of that property for any possible future development. Commercial designation is also what's recommended by Charles Comprehensive Plan.
Council, here's a recommendation to adopt second. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, we have second final reading of ordinance 2022-07. This is an ordinance to amend section 16 through 26 of the Charlotte Town's Code of Ordinances relating to standards for minor streets in subdivisions.
This also comes as a recommendation from the Planning Commission as part of that July 26th public hearing. A developer of the Whortleberry subdivision on 52 asked for clarification on our ordinance for street widths. There was some information missing in the existing ordinances for the use of valley gutters, I believe. And after consulting with Sandy Watford of the PD COG and other municipalities and localities in the area, it was determined that the best course of action would be to require a minimum 22-foot width of driving pavement, so 11-foot lanes in minor streets for subdivisions, and then a minimum of 18-inch gutter requirement for any type of gutter.
Council, here's a recommendation to approve second reading of ordinance 2022-307. Do I have a motion to accept second final reading?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, council, we have first reading of ordinance 2022-08. This is an ordinance to confirm the M1 manufacturing designation for certain properties in the town of Charlotte.
This deals with the old PDI fuel building and a couple of warehouses over near Chestnut Street, ACL Edgemont area. In the 2000 zoning map, these properties were displayed as open space, even though they had always been manufacturing in nature. And in 2000, around 2010 or so, the town actually received legal counsel that they were never properly to open space, and that they were still adopted a new zoning map in 2017. They still showed up as open space. And so just in order to change that and make sure it was all done correctly, this ordinance confirms that they are still manufacturing designated as manufacturing, which is also the recommendation of the comprehensive plan as well.
Council, you hear a recommendation to adopt first reading of ordinance 2022-08. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Also, the first reading is ordinance 2022-08. This is an ordinance adopting an amendment to the code of the town of Sherrall, providing a business license fees. Rob?
Well, Mayor, this is where Tina came to our briefing last one and talked about how we have to switch over to the state standardized business license for the entire state. So this is that ordinance that will enable us to go to that centralized.
This is a uniform statewide.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's good.
We have a motion to adopt first reading of ordinance 2022-09. The motion is there. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. We have two resolutions for consideration. Resolution 02-2022. This is a resolution certifying 3 building sites as abandoned buildings pursuant to the South Carolina Abandoned Buildings Revitalization Act of 2013, Title 12, Chapter 67, Section 12-67-100 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, as amended regarding properties located at 126 Market Street, 128 Market Street, and 201 Front Street in Sherrall. Mike?
This is basically, well, Rob can explain, that's to do with the hotel.
Robbie, you comment?
The state of South Carolina allows developers to take tax credits if they are redeveloping buildings that have been abandoned for at least 5 years, or I should say at least 66% of the building has been abandoned for 5 years. They have to file a notice of intent with the State Department of Revenue that they are going to do this. And to certify that those buildings were in fact abandoned, there's a couple ways you can do it. The local governing body, you guys can certify that they were abandoned. This deals with the Pope's Dollar Store, which the last water bill had been 2014, so it's been closed since then. The Dawkins building, which had collapsed in the interior in 2012, so about 9 years ago. And then also the big warehouse had been attached to the lead real estate office, which had been vacant or used as storage since at least 2008, if not earlier.
Council, you hear the recommendation to resolution 02-2022. Do I have a motion to adopt first, to adopt the resolution?
So,
The motion is accepted. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Tina, Robbie needs to recuse our vote.
Yeah.
Since we're investors.
I'll have some recusal forms if you sign those forms, please.
The motion carries. Also, we have resolution 03-2022. This is a resolution authorizing submission of an application by the town of Sherrall for the Division Community Grant Programs of the South Carolina Department of Commerce.
Mayor, the fire department is in need of a new tanker, and we can apply for a community development block grant tanker. We, a couple years ago, we were running about $350,000. Well, now it's probably closer to 500 something. So we can actually, apply for $500,000 and have 10%. It'd be a total cost of $550,000 for 10%, whatever is left. But the application will be due in another week, and we should know something by the end of the year. So anyway, this is a pretty good return. That, I don't know if the chief wants to mention anything about the tanker, but it may look nice on the outside, but it's an old one and has a different set of body versus a chassis, that sort of thing.
Chief, any comments on that?
Yes, the tank itself, the tank is, actually been known longer than I have, I've been 33 years. It was remounted on the truck in the early, mid-80s. So the chassis, in the mid-80s, the tank is, built like in the 70s. This is steel tank, so it's rusted beyond the point of being able to be repaired, so that's all the time replacement.
Resolution,
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, the hotel agreement pertaining to completion date.
The hotel, in the initial agreement we had, consent agreement, with the hotel developer caused for a certain substantial completion date and then an opening date because of pandemic, building supplies, and, basically been about 9 months behind. The timber you see, they just got there and they started on, but they'd like to change those terms to where the substantial completion is like June 30th, 2022, and then they'd be open in December of 2022. So I agree that, that the pandemic has caused, the timber prices have gone from 200,000 to over 700,000. So, it is warranted, and I'm all for it.
Council, here's a recommendation to, agree to the amendment on the change of the completion dates. Do I have a motion with adopt the, request? Got a motion here, second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, we have a
Excuse me, Mr.
recommendation.
Mayor, we have two recusals also.
Excuse me.
Councilman Bennett and Councilman Crawford.
Okay, motion carries. Recommendation from the legislative committee concerning truck traffic on Market Street. Mr. Hill.
Thank you. The legislative committee met with Police Chief Keith Thomas and Town Administrator Mike Smith to discuss the concerns of John and Janet Carrigan regarding the number of trucks traveling down Market Street. Police Chief Thomas told the committee that he and his officers spend a significant amount of time during the 4-week period shopping trucks on Market Street. The result of that effort was 280 trucks were stopped. 38 trucks were in violation of the town's ordinances, while 242 trucks were found to be making local deliveries. As a result, Chief Thomas says he cannot justify spending this amount of time. They have officers concentrate on Market Street. Powered speed limit signs which would flash the speed of vehicles passing by. Mike Smith said he would look into applying for various grants to purchase this type of speed limit signs that could be placed on Market Street as well as several other streets in Charlotte.
Is that coming out of,
That was just coming out of the legislative committee.
back to motion?
I think it's correct.
Okay. Council, you have a recommendation from the legislative committee. Is there a motion to adopt the recommendation? That motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Also, we have a request from Fire Chief Marvin Murray regarding the training facility.
Yes, sir. The fire department is requesting that council will allow us to use a portion of the old town shop area to be converted into use as a training ground. We have already got the containers that we plan on using for a burn pipe building and a training tile building at that location. There's already water, there's already power, fencing, and concrete slabs already at that location, which would make it an ideal location for us to put that training facility. It is out of the way. We have actually spoken with residents in that area, and they're fine with us being there. So we just making a formal request to council to, we have to have a dedicated site for ISO to recognize it as a training facility, and we're requesting that designation.
Council, you're hearing the request, if it's all the council, I'd like to refer this request to the Public Safety Committee for review and meet with Marvin and come back in October with a recommendation. If nobody objects, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, will there be any additional cost with setting up this facility?
Minor cost, the only major cost will be involved will be tearing down the old, Public Works building, to be able to get access to that concrete slab and stuff under. After that point, there will be very minimal cost involved. A lot of the work we'll be doing ourselves. We purchased those containers, the cost of stacking the containers, putting them in place was included in the price. A lot of the construction work will be done by our personnel. So the only cost we would involve will be tearing down at least portion of that building to gain access to that slab.
What building is that?
The old public works, building, we don't need all of it, we just need a portion of it tore down to get access to that concrete slab to be able to put the containers on. That's a footing for those containers.
Is that something we have to hire out or?
I would imagine so.
Well, a couple of things. One, it's got asbestos in it, so we'd have to have it removed, and then we'd look to do what we can, but I think we bid it out to licensed contractors to do. And the other thing about moving it there, we get to use town water. We were out at our old, at the new pump, we'd be using county rural water, which we would end up having to pay a heck of a lot for just a tap fee in itself. So I'm glad that we were able to see this being utilized.
Any other questions?
Mark, could you get some cost estimates on the removal of the building before we vote?
Yeah. And have that information available for the public safety committee. Okay. And I also like to thank Steve here for your involvement. Appreciate it. Also, we have Chief Thomas, Chief Cobb. Chief Thomas. Talk to the council. Chief.
Appreciate the opportunity. I submitted a letter to Town Administrator Mike Smith on August 25th of 2021 in regards to COVID relief money that was awarded to the town over the summer. I submitted my request for the council to consider providing a bonus to any employees for the town, not just my department, but for all departments that had to deal with the public during the pandemic. This pandemic has been something that I thought I'd never have to deal with in my lifetime, but it adds a new development of stress for my officers and other town employees. This second variant that has come through has magnified that. The break that we had between the two pandemics was a welcome sight. It sort of relieved the stress that my officers have been under. But this new variant, we've responded to two calls to two different residents in the last week where a person has died at the home from COVID and their entire families have been infected. Now, if you want to know stress, at the level of seeing your officers walk into this apartment building where everybody inside is known to have COVID, they're not wearing masks, and we have to go in there and assist the coroner and do our daily duties. And that's stressful on me as their chief. That's stressful on them to go do that. Because you never know. These masks are supposed to work. The vaccines are supposed to work. But I've got 4 people that work for me that was vaccinated and have come down with COVID, and 2 of those ended up in the hospital. So we don't know what can happen from day to day. All I'm asking is we have to show our employees that we appreciate everything they've done during this pandemic, because we all know they could have went home and made $900 a week sitting home. There ain't no doubt about that. And I just think that they're worthy of some consideration on some money that was sent to the town. And I know the town's got a lot of things that they have to pay for, but I think this is an opportunity, because we don't know how long this second variant will last. But it's a good opportunity to show our employees that we appreciate them and to keep them strong and coming to work every day. Because I can tell you, I got officers, I taught one out of resigning because he's frustrated with having to wear these masks and do things we're asking to do. I think it would send a good message from the town to our employees that they're appreciated by the mayor, council. I appreciate your consideration and respect.
All right. Yeah. All right.
If we got the variances from the state about how that money, the ARP money can be used for yet.
No, not officially. We've got some, but they still haven't come out with final review.
If we can see any funds.
No, we have not received any funds yet either, although we finally been asked to submit our documentation on where it's piece of bank account, that sort of thing. So we have, it should be forthcoming soon, but I can't tell you exactly when.
And I'd like to add one thing. I've provided, Mr. Smith with, there's other counties and municipalities that have already voted to award their employees that were employed at the time of the pandemic and worked through the pandemic. There are other municipalities and counties that are looking to do that and have already passed, resolutions or some instructions on that is being done. And so with that, my officers see that, hear that, and now they're wondering, they're going to be rewarded for their efforts during this time.
If the finance committee will come back in October with a recommendation. At this time, we have, Council, you have in your packet activity reports on various departments. Please feel free to review those. If you have any questions, contact the administration about those. At this time, we have citizens' comments. Is there anyone here that's not on the agenda?
Only concern that I got, we say that if the citizen of Truro want answers, they will be put on their agenda. So, and I just witnessed that Ms. Janet Kerrigan is in the agenda, she didn't get no answer. I'm hoping that at the end of the day, when I come back with a result, she at least get a written answer from mayor and council concerning the issue. She is a taxpayer in this town, so I'm hoping that everybody in this town gets treated and gets a fair shot. Because I think that's why she got on the agenda, because she wanted an answer. But I realized that she didn't get an answer. So I'm praying that she receives an answer. I don't care if she's in line. She needs to be treated fair. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, hearing none, I have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
There's a first question, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.